Yeah, in that vein, do you see Milam coming back? Because we know how valuable it is to have a good guy that can score on special teams. That's his specialty.
I know.
And the Komets, like you said at the beginning of the show,
but Glenn, then you look at it this way: if you bring back,
that's two veterans.
Marino.
You got to keep him.
You got to keep him. There's two, okay?
Schrocker, maybe.
Schrocker, Smitty, Milam, you can't keep all of them. And do you really want 4 veterans back from a team that had a losing record? I mean, you got to look at this as, this is strictly a business decision. This is not an emotional decision. This is going to be heartbreakingly tough decision to make, because what do you do with those guys? And then you've got guys like Beauregard will be a vet, and let's see who else. There's like 9 guys that'll be vets. If Colin gets healthy and wants to play again, do you bring him back? I don't see how you can't. With everything he's meant to Fort Wayne too. And I know that's cross purposes with what we're talking about with Schrocky and Smitty. That's how hard this is going to be to determine. I really don't know what they're going to do that way. You got to start with Marino, and you got to start with Sierozinski, okay, as your vets. And after that, I don't know what you do. I really don't. I mean, I look at Tyler Butler, and a lot of fans were disappointed with him. It's like nobody on this team was asked to do more than Tyler was asked to do. He had to be 8 different things to everybody out there because there was nobody else to do it. And by gosh, he tried, You wonder how good he could be if they just said, Tyler, you worry about this part of the game. You take care of this, and everything else will be fine. He might be really a really good player.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got that kind of potential, that kind of skill, and he provided a lot of leadership. I mean, you have a lot of...
They loved him in Arizona.
Oh, I think he did a fantastic job this year, considering he had 5 rookies with him on the blue line the whole time, and 5 guys who were asking him for advice all the time. I mean, that's a lot of pressure on the guy. And, oh, by the way, you're supposed to play power play, even though you haven't ever done it before. And, oh, yeah, you're going to be on the #1 pellet killing unit, and you're going to play 30 minutes a night. And, I mean, if anybody got worn down by this season, it was Tyler. I mean.
And I think people also underestimate the impact of Chris Auger of his injury because of his. You're right. A lot of guys played on special teams units. Kishel would be one that weren't familiar with it, didn't play it a lot in college or anywhere else. I mean, they threw a lot of guys on the special teams.
Ryan, I mean,
it was all new to.
Do you think Al Sims normally would like to put Kishel and Hegarty, guys who are some of your smaller, most inexperienced defensemen, on your penalty kill?
Most likely not.
No, it's not going to happen that way. I really think the Komets were hoping to get 2 defensemen from Norfolk, and they got 1 pretty much all year until the very end when Schaus came back. And I loved Nick Schaus and the way he played. He was ornery, he was feisty, he didn't take crap from anybody, and I think he could be back. Now, Schaus and Gensel's contracts are up in Norfolk. Those might be my first 2 signings if I can get them.
Right.
I mean, right there is a #1 defensive pairing that they're going to get called up a little bit next year, but I risk it. I go for it. I go for both of them.
Yeah.
They're both great guys in the room. They can play. They're ornery. They play fantastically well together. They fit in with the team. They bought into the system. I go after those 2.
Yeah, Schaus was great when he came in. He didn't need much time to get acclimated to this team.
No. Well, and he kept in contact with everybody. Everybody likes him. Like I said, he's great in the room. I go after both of those guys. Now, you got to look at it. They say less than half the team. Okay, I say Sierozinski, Marino. I say Risk you bring back. But Risky's got to be a second-line center, not your third-line center.
Right.
He's got to make that jump, and I think he can do it. I go after there's some other guys I'm thinking. I bring Nick Wheeler into camp, and I use Nick as my extra defenseman or my extra forward because he can do both, and that saves a spot, actually, right there. There's a million different ways this could go.
Yeah, well, we've talked all season about how things went wrong. What in your mind went right?
Oh, Kenny Ryder. Kenny Ryder was the highlight of this season. I think it's a crime he didn't get Rookie of the Year. I don't care if he wasn't here. He was the Rookie of the Year. He's the guy that we're all going to remember as we look back on this season as a positive. I think Ciro coming back at the end, I wish they could have got him 2 months earlier. It would have been fascinating to see. But I think you found a piece for next year there, too. And finding a 6'4", 225 guy who can score 30 goals, yeah, that doesn't happen every day. I don't care what the situation is. That doesn't happen. And he's fired up and ready to go. I think Nick Wheeler was good because of the reasons we talked about. There's a lot of things. I gained a lot of respect for some guys this year. Not that I didn't respect them before, but I just respect them that much more now. And I look at a guy like Butler, and I look at a guy like Smitty, and I look at a guy like Schrocky, who tried to help lead the team and things like that. And I look at those things as positives too. Now, if that goes further, who knows? I mean, that's a tough one.
All right, and we'll try to actually get some of those answers on Tuesday night at the annual Jersey Auction Benefits
I don't think
charity.
we're going to get any answers for a while, though.
It's going to be
because I think they're going to take the time that they have, this extra time, and sit down and really think it out. And really think it out. I mean, they've been thinking about it for the last 2 months. I think ever since Ryder and Maggio got called up, they've been thinking about it. I think they'll have a much better game plan. And you've got to get higher level rookies. You've got to get NCAA Division I premier program kids, and you've got to get high junior kids too. You can't go tier 2 anymore. It just doesn't work.
And you've got the Cubs jersey on, which means we've fully transitioned.
It's transition time. Baseball has started. I can wear this until Memorial Day with no fear. And then it goes back in the closet
just
for
Memorial
the last
Day.
100 years, just like it has the last 100 years.
Yeah, they've got a AAA lineup in there.
Yeah, they do.
Or a quad A lineup.
Yeah.
It's going to be, it may be nasty on the north side. But we're going to wrap things up with the Komets this year. Blake, it's always a pleasure to talk to you about Komets hockey. I always say Blake forgets more about the Komets when he walks into the studio than I ever knew.
Well, I always appreciate how prepared you are and how much research you do. It's like I don't think you ever ask dumb questions, and it's obviously that you care about this as much as I do.
Well,
that's cool.
It is fun. It's fun to see the Komets' passion. I know this year has been extremely frustrating. You can see it online. You can see it when you talk to fans. But I do think, first year in the ECHL, we're used to seeing these guys win, and I think just having one season puts it more into perspective.
To win. We just they've pulled it off so much, even when they've been struggling over the last 5 years. They make a move, they make 2 moves, and things turn around. We just take it for granted that's going to happen.
Exactly, and so it gives us a framework to appreciate what they've done in years past, knowing that not every season are you going to be hoisting a cup at the end of the year. So I think in some ways we can learn from that, and I know the team, nobody is hungrier to get back into the playoffs than the Frankies.
Right.
All right, he's Blake Sebring. I'm Glenn Marini. Thanks for watching all season long. We'll see you next year.